Okay, so today's tutorial session, we are going to discuss exercise on chapter 4, which is on reproductive system. So we are going to look at structured question, part B. So we are going to do the question one by one. So we are going to look at question number 1 first. Okay, so it says for this session, we are going to go down the list. Okay, so daripada atas sampai ke bawah lah. Alright, so I'm going to read the opening question. Okay, question number 1. It shows you figure 9 that shows cycles of cycle X. Okay, cycle X of human female reproductive system. Okay, so for female reproductive system, we have two cycles, which is the ovarian cycle. Okay, ovarian cycle, and then the second one is the uterine or menstrual cycle. Okay, first, second. Okay, ovarian cycle is what happened in the ovary. Okay, so what happened in the ovary is influenced by these two hormones, FSH and also LH. Okay, so basically cycle X is ovarian cycle. Okay, so these two hormone, follicle stimulating hormone and also luteinizing hormone, these two hormone is secreted by the anterior pituitary gland, which is stimulated by the hormone GnRH, secreted by the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus secreted GnRH influences the anterior pituitary to secrete this hormone FSH and also LH that will travel along your blood circulation until it reaches the ovary. And as the name implies, follicle stimulating hormone, it causes one follicle that contains primary oocyte to grow and mature. Okay, to grow and mature. So as the follicle grows, the primary oocyte inside the follicle will resume, okay, the process of meiosis. Okay, so the follicle contain primary oocyte that stops at prophase 1. Okay, prophase 1 of metaphase 1. So as the follicle grows, the primary oocyte will resume meiosis, and then as the follicle grows from primary oocyte, it becomes secondary oocyte. Okay, secondary oocyte which stop at metaphase 2 of meiosis 2. Okay, so during day 14 is where ovulation will occur. Okay, so ovulation will release secondary oocyte. Right. Okay, so as the follicle grows, the growing follicle, the cells of the follicle, okay, will produce estrogen and also progesterone. Okay, estrogen in high amount. Okay, so what is the function of the estrogen secreted by the growing follicle? It is to stimulate the uterus. So basically the estrogen secreted by the growing follicle will travel in your blood and reaches the target cells in the uterus. Okay, so it causes the uterine lining to thicken. Okay, so okay, so that basically that is what happened during ovarian cycle. So during ovulation, the secondary oocyte will be released, and if you observe in the graph here, the secretion of LH will surge, okay, just before day 14. Okay, just before day 14, the secretion of LH will peak. Okay, so this is to cause the mature follicle to rupture and releases the secondary oocyte during ovulation. So make sure that you notice that the peak of LH is just before day 14, just before ovulation occurs. Okay, and then after the secondary oocyte is released into the fallopian tube, the follicle, the ruptured follicle will be converted into corpus luteum. Okay, so corpus luteum will become a gland, an endocrine gland that secretes the hormone estrogen and also progesterone. So at this stage, you will observe that the secretion of progesterone will increase. So the function of progesterone is to maintain the thickening of endometrium lining. So basically these two hormones, estrogen and progesterone, secreted by the ovary, is to influence the second cycle, which is the menstrual cycle or the uterine cycle. Okay, so you have to know how to relate and read this diagram. Okay, so basically day 0 is the basically here. Okay, hari pertama, okay, hari pertama menstruation tu, hari pertama period, okay, will be the start of the menstrual cycle. Okay, so alright, so ini saya bagi sekali overview of what happened, okay, in the ovarian cycle, and also secara tak langsung kita tengok juga apa yang jadi dekat menstrual cycle. Okay, so for the first person, can the first person in the list, which is Ainin Sophia, answer question A?
For question A, name the hormone secreted by the growing follicle and identify the action of this hormone on the uterus. My answer is estradiol. The hormone secreted by the growing follicle is estradiol. Estradiol thickening the uterus to allow fertilized egg to implant.
Thickening of endometrium.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to take note, okay, the keyword that you must include when answering this question. Okay, when you are answering the function of the hormone estrogen or estradiol, keyword that you must include is to promote ataupun stimulate. Okay, stimulate the thickening of endometrium wall or endometrium lining or uterine wall. Okay, so that is the answer for question number 1. So thank you, Ainin. So B, ini saya dah bagi jawapan tadi. Okay, Isha.
B, identify event X, ovulation, because at day 14, secondary oocyte is released.
Ovulation, cycle X. Event X. Dia guna dua, cycle X is ovarian cycle. Okay, what happened at X is ovulation. Betul lah. Ovulation. Okay, you identify X, ovulation, ataupun you explain what is ovulation, which is the release of secondary oocyte from the matured follicle or Graafian follicle. Okay, the release of secondary oocyte from Graafian follicle. Okay, secondary oocyte is released. Alright. C, Hanan, Alpha, please.
State the function of LH in the gland that produces hormone. The gland that produces this is the gland. The LH is stimulate the follicle to ovulation of the seed of the cell.
Awak punya suara putus sikit lah. Yang first tu saya dengar anterior pituitary. Second point tu. Tak apalah Alpha. Saya tak dapat, tapi tak apa. Okay, so saya rasa jawapan awak dah betul dah. Okay, which is, okay, it says here, state the function of LH and the gland that produces the hormone. Okay, so this question is worth 2 marks. Okay, so we are going to look at the gland first. Okay, so the gland that produces the hormone LH is anterior pituitary. So that is 1 mark. Okay, anterior pituitary. For the second point adalah you explain on the function of the hormone LH, which is to trigger ovulation. Okay, trigger ovulation ataupun aids follicle stimulating hormone or FSH to stimulate follicle growth, okay, ataupun it trigger the development of corpus luteum. Ada tiga fungsi LH kat situ. I repeat, to trigger ovulation. Second, to aid FSH to stimulate follicle growth. And then the third one is to trigger the development of corpus luteum. Okay. So I hope you got the answer. So thank you, Hanan. Okay, so next question is Izzat Daniel, please. Question number 2.
State one characteristic of asexual reproduction. The answer is offspring are genetically identical to the parents.
Okay, betul lah. 1 point. Dia nak 1 markah je lah kan. State one characteristics of asexual reproduction. So the answer given by Izzat was genetically identical between offspring and also parents. Okay, so ataupun there for the same point you can write there is no genetic variation. Tak ada genetic variation sebab sel membahagi melalui proses mitosis. Okay, mitosis. Okay, so or ada a few more points that you can include in your answer, which is another point that you can write is that no gamete fusion involved. Okay, no gametes involved. Okay, it only involved the process of mitosis ataupun no meiosis involved. Okay. Second, no fertilization. Another point that you can include, no fertilization, and it also involves only one parent. Alright. And then another point that you can also include in your answer is it is the most fastest and most efficient way of reproducing. Kenapa fastest? Sebab proses tu tak perlu menghasilkan gamet, tak perlu nak tunggu fertilization, tak perlu nak find mate, kan? So it is the fastest and most efficient way of reproducing, or a high number of offspring will be produced. Okay, and less energy required for reproduction. Okay, less energy because the animal does not have to find a partner. Okay, a mating partner. Less energy is needed, and no requirement to produce the gametes. Okay, so those are the answers that you can include in your answer. Those are the points. Okay, so B, saya pause sekejap je. Can you wait for a moment? Okay, so we are going to continue with Ku Ahmad Hazim for question B. Hazim ada?
For B1, state one example of a cell that undergoes this type of cell division. My answer is egg cell. Number 2, explain the outcome of the above process.
Pause. Okay, kat sini kan, it is better for you not to use the word eggs. Okay, eggs. You have to be more precise. Okay. Okay, so if you look at the question, figure 10 shows a type of cell division. So if you look at this cell division, it involves the process apa, Hazim? Meiosis. Okay, so meiosis. So why do you know that it is meiosis? Because you can see that there's exchange of genetic material between the chromosome, between the homologous chromosome. Okay, so ada proses crossing over kan, ada itulah dia. So you know that this is meiosis. Okay, so state one example of cell that undergoes this type of cell division. So Hazim answered tadi egg. So please you don't use the word egg, tapi awak guna, sebab kita belajar chapter reproductive system, kita belajar apa, ada haiwan yang bertelur semua tu kan. Okay, so kita nak terlalu general. Alright, so the answer will be primary oocyte. Okay, primary oocyte. State one example that undergoes this type of cell division. Okay, primary oocyte itu kalau untuk female, alright? Primary oocyte ataupun primary spermatocyte. Okay, primary. Kenapa kat sini ditulis primary oocyte ataupun primary spermatocyte? Sebab sebelum nak menghasilkan kedua-dua sel ni terhasil daripada germ cell. Okay, sel ni terhasil daripada germ cell yang these two cell is produced through the process of mitosis actually. Okay, so if you look at your lecture note, kita ambil satu contoh. Tengok ni. Okey, kalau kita tengok untuk proses spermatogenesis, kan, daripada spermatogonium untuk menghasilkan primary spermatocyte, okay, primary spermatocyte, di sel-sel tu akan undergo proses mitosis. Okay, mitosis. Lepas terhasilnya primary spermatocyte ataupun primary oocyte, baru dia akan start the process of meiosis. Okay, so that is the answer lah. Alright. So dua-dua sel ni terhasil melalui proses mitosis, baru dia akan start proses meiosis. Okay, meiosis. Okay, so boleh Hazim? Faham? Are you still there?
Okay, for B2, explain the outcome.
B2 tak payah. Dah jawab tadi. So thank you Hazim. So next is Fatih. Fatih Salmi Anas. Fatih ada? Kita akan ke Ivy, Fatih. Okay, nanti kita pergi balik kat dia. Okay, so next is Zahratul.
Okay, so for question 2, explain the outcomes of the above process in 2B1. So first, cells will undergo meiosis 1 to form 2 haploid secondary spermatocyte. Second one, secondary spermatocyte will undergo meiosis 2, producing 4 haploid somatids.
Boleh lah. Okay, okay boleh. Okay, explain the outcome of the above process. Producing apa yang awak cakap tadi, 4 haploid spermatids. Okay, so another point that you can include in your answer is that it produces genetic variation. So as you can see, the process of meiosis involve crossing over kat sini kan, the exchange of genetic materials between homologous chromosome. This causes the production of genetic variation. Your answer tadi juga produces haploid. Okay, haploid spermatocyte, for haploid spermatocyte. Okay, so itu ada 2 point dah kat situ. And then another point that you can also include in your answer is that untuk point yang lebih kurang sama dengan genetic variation tadi, it leads to variation of gametes. Okay, so one sperm cell to another sperm cell, or one oocyte to another oocyte will have different composition of genetic materials. Okay, so lead to variation of gametes genotype. Okay, gametes genotype. So ada gamete yang akan carry dominant allele, akan ada gamete yang carry recessive allele, for example. Okay, due to the process of crossing over. So that is another point that you can also include in your answer. Involve crossing over during meiosis 1 or prophase 1. Okay, so those are the answer that you can include in your point. Okay, so those are the point that you can include in your answer, right? So so thank you, Zahratul. Next is Adlin. For question C, please.
For question C, what are significant problems faced by bony fishes practicing external fertilization? My answer is the survival rate of eggs produced is low.
Okay. Lagi? Ada 3 point? Low survival rate. Of the eggs or fertilized egg or gametes.
And less chances of reproduction if fertilization to occur.
Kenapa?
Because the fertilization is occur at the external fertilization.
Itu awak rephrase balik soalan. Any other possibility? If the gametes are released outside, so they are not protected, so they are exposed to what?
Dangerous.
Such as?
From
Eaten by predators, for example.
It is okay.
Okay. So if you look at the question, what are significant problems faced by bony fishes practicing external fertilization? So your first point was low survival rate. Okay, why is it why? Boleh kembang kat untuk point yang seterusnya. Low survival rate because the gamete are lost in the water, for example. Kenapa lost in the water? So maybe the sperm is released first into the water, so sperm is able to swim. So it is also carried by the water current. Okay, so the gametes are lost. Okay, lost in the water. For example, gametes are lost in the water. Second, gametes are eaten by predators. Okay. Third, another point that you can include, the gametes are infected by microbes. Okay, because it is released outside. Okay, so outside there may be microbes that cause infection, for example. Okay, gametes are infected by microbes. And then another point that you can include is egg and sperm are not simultaneously released into the water. Okay, so walaupun maybe sperm and eggs tu dia tak jauh beza dari segi masa untuk diriliskan, tapi pergerakan air tu, okay, the water current can lead to the less chance of fertilization to occur because the gametes are maybe lost, okay, lost in the water current. Okay, and then so boleh so those are the points that you can include in your answer. Ada few tadi saya bagi, dia nak 3 sahaja. Boleh faham? Tadi siapa tadi? Adlin kan?
Faham, madam.
Okay. So thank you. So next is Anissa.
For question D1, what is the most probable phase of ovarian cycle of this patient? My answer is follicular phase.
Kenapa? Why do you answer follicular?
The amount of estrogen is higher than progesterone.
Okay. So follicular phase ni dia adalah phase yang berlaku dalam cycle apa? Jawapan betul dah, follicular. Follicular phase adalah phase yang berlaku dalam cycle yang mana? Oh, dia dah cakap kat sini ovarian cycle. Okay. Ovarian cycle dia ada dua phase kan, follicular phase and also the other one is apa dia?
Luteal phase.
Luteal phase. Okay. So if you observe in this table, okay, you will observe that there is a high concentration of LH being produced. Okay, so if you observe in your slide for the graph, okay, so follicular phase kan, as the follicle grows kan, so it is because of the hormone LH and also FSH. Tapi before ovulation ni still dalam phase follicular phase, you have a surge of LH. So itu yang paling clue yang paling obvious lah kat situ. LH release is really high. Okay, boleh
Boleh.
Kalau estrogen pun boleh juga, macam awak jawab tadi kan, estrogen if you look at the graph, so as the follicle grows kan, lebih banyak ada follicle cell, so lebih banyak juga estrogen yang akan diriliskan. Tapi bila dia masuk kepada luteal phase baru akan ada progesterone punya amount yang akan meningkat. Okay, yang akan meningkat. Okay, so estrogen punya kuantiti lebih banyak semasa follicular phase ni sebab follicle cell lebih banyak untuk menghasilkan lebih banyak estrogen. Okay, berbanding dengan progesterone. Okay, so thank you Anissa. Next is Erina. Erina Natasha. Nur Erina Natasha. Okay, kita KIV Erina. Kita balik semula kepada tadi siapa? Fatih. Muhammad Fatih Salmi. Ada?
No.
Okay, question 2.
Question 2.
Suara awak jauh lah. Boleh?
Yeah.
Maybe you can type your answer. Saya buka ni. Okay, type. Kalau tak dengar suara, you can type. Ke susah untuk awak type? Okay ke Fatih? Okay. So the answer given by Fatih is he says amount of LH hormone is the highest than others, so this hormone will stimulate secondary oocyte to be released from follicle. Oocyte or is it oocyte? OOCYTE. Okay, bukan oocyte. Oocyte. Okay. Okay, so betul lah tak? Okay, so soalan ni satu markah aja. So you got your marks there. So you mentioned that there's high amount of LH. Okay, high amount or high level of LH to stimulate the release of secondary oocyte. Okay, so boleh lah. Itu awak punya ayat yang kedua ni boleh untuk point yang lain. So maksudnya kalau soalan ni 2 markah, so awak dapat 2 markah lah. Okay. So another point that you may include in your answer for the same point as the amount of hormone LH juga adalah low amount of estrogen and progesterone. Okay, low amount of estrogen and also progesterone. Okay, so thank you Fatih. So next is tadi Erina. Ada nak Erina? Still no Erina? Okay, Hanis please. Hanis Hanani.
Yes. Figure 12 shows the reproductive system of a human male. State one significant function of M. Seminal vesicle nourishes and provides energy for the sperm to swim.
Okay, nourish tu dengan dia secret apa? Mesti awak kena sebut dia punya secretion tu. Gland tadi seminal vesicle you answered kan? So nourish. Macam mana nak nourish sperm to swim? Dia akan secrete apa?
Fructose.
Fructose. So itu dia punya point yang awak kena include. Okay. So if you refer to your notes, so you must know the location, ini female, of the male accessory glands. Okay, male accessory glands kita ada 3 kan, seminal vesicle, and then you have the lateral glands, and then you have the prostate gland. Okay, 3 ni. So these 3 accessory gland, you have to know the secretion and you have to know the function of the secretion. Okay, seminal vesicle, point yang pertama yang boleh include adalah it produces or secrete fructose that nourish and provide energy for the sperm to swim, ataupun untuk another secretion is prostaglandin. So this chemical molecule will stimulate contraction of uterus. Okay, that will help the sperm to move up the female reproductive tract. Okay, so kita terus buat revision. Prostate gland produce alkaline, milky and alkaline fluid, okay, which neutralizes the acidic environment in the vagina that might kill or slow the movement of sperm. And then for the lateral gland, it produces and secrete mucus secretion that cleanses the urethra of acidic urine, okay, and also to penetrate penis, to lubricate the penis to facilitate penetration, okay, in the vagina. Okay, so okay, so ini adalah seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and then sepatutnya kat bawah sini somewhere ada lateral gland. Okay, kita kedudukan dia. Lateral gland bawah prostate. Okay. Okay, so thank you Anis, Hanani, Nadia. Question 3 please.
Question 3. Figure 13 shows interaction between hormones involved in the female reproductive system. Number 1, identify organ 1. Ovaries.
Ovary. Okay. Ovary sebab dekat sini you can see the LH, FSH hormone pergi kepada target organ dia, ovary, that the ovary secretes the hormone estrogen and also progesterone. Gland X apa? Hypothalamus. Okay, hypothalamus secretes the hormone GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Okay, so question 2, Nur Ain Kistina.
Question 2. Name one structure inside organ Y that secretes hormone. Corpus luteum.
Betul. Okay, corpus luteum produce the hormone yang paling banyak adalah progesterone lah kan, untuk maintain pregnancy. Okay, to maintain the endometrium, the thickening of endometrium lining. Other structure you can also include adalah follicles. Okay, follicles or follicular cells ataupun granulosa cells. Okay, so thank you Ain. Next is Arina, ada lagi ke? Saya panggil ni tak beranswer. Cuba type. Are you there? Still no response from Arina. Okay. So question B, Maisarah. Nur Maisarah Nisa, please.
What is the effect of high estrogen and progesterone towards the endometrium wall? Stimulate maintenance and development of uterine lining.
Okay, boleh lah. Okay, so stimulate and maintenance of endometrium lining. Okay. Mesti untuk bila awak tengok soalan, bila dia ada mengeluarkan dalam soalan tu perkataan progesterone, mesti jawapan awak ada keyword dia maintain. Okay. Maintain thickening of endometrium lining or endometrium layer. Mesti ada perkataan maintain. Okay, so thank you Maisarah. Next is Sarah Sabrina.
C. Discuss how gland X and structures inside organ Y works towards ovulation process.
Okay, sekejap. Kita pause. Pause sekejap. Kita terus label kat sini tadi. X adalah supaya kita ubah. Okay. Y adalah apa tadi? Ovary. Okay. Proceed please.
Gland X, which is hypothalamus, will release GnRH, which stimulates the anterior pituitary to secrete FSH and LH. FSH and LH. Lepas tu, FSH stimulates follicle growth inside the ovary and aided by the LH. The growing follicle will secrete estrogen and then causes the secretion of FSH and LH level increase. So the increase in this will lead to increase in LH concentration that will causes ovulation to occur.
Okay. Betul lah. Okay. Boleh lah. Okay, ovulation to occur, releasing apa? Last point?
Releasing secondary
oocyte. Okay. So betul lah. Okay. So you got all the points in your answer. Okay. 5 marks kat situ. Kat sini dekat soalan ni awak tengok, soalan ni markah dia besar 5. Okay. So you have to know the process. Okay, you have to know the process of hormonal control for female. Okay, daripada hypothalamus yang dia akan mempengaruhi anterior pituitary. Lepas anterior pituitary akan pergi kepada ovary. Ovary akan influence Tapi itu kalau kita stop sampai ovulation je lah kan. Okay, sampai ovulation. Okay, so those are the point yang you perlu includekan dalam jawapan. Okay. Okay, so nanti kalau you all play video, bolehlah tengok balik apa point given by Sarah tadi. Okay. Okay, so next is Shobha, please.
Suggest 2 factors on how organ Y influences menopause in women. My answer is number of eggs in the ovary decreases and the ovaries lose the sensitivity toward FSH and LH.
Kenapa dia low sensitivity pada LH dengan FSH? Coba.
Because as the women get older, so the organ does not work properly.
Organ is referring to as ovary, is it? Kan? Okay, so proses menopause ni dia akan berlaku disebabkan oleh there's no more production of primary oocyte after birth. So maksudnya dekat sini bila seseorang perempuan tu dilahirkan, dia berbeza dengan lelaki kan. So proses spermatogenesis dia sentiasa melibatkan berlakunya proses mitosis. Okay, mitosis daripada spermatogonium tu. Spermatogonium dia boleh melalui proses mitosis untuk continuously produce sperm cell. Tapi kalau untuk perempuan, bila kita dilahirkan, dalam ovari kita tu, dalam ovari ada follicle, all the follicles already contain primary oocyte yang tak akan dah membahagi melalui proses mitosis. So kita ada limited amount of follicle to be released during our reproductive period tu. Okay, period yang boleh mengandung lah kan. Ataupun okay, so tu point yang pertama kan. So there will be no more production of primary oocyte after birth sebab tak melibatkan proses mitosis lagi. Okay, point yang pertama. Second, ovary stop releasing secondary oocyte ataupun no ovulation will occur. Okay, no ovulation will occur. Point yang ketiga yang awak boleh include adalah women will have limited number of primary oocyte. Okay, women will have limited number of primary oocyte in the ovary. And then another point, estrogen and progesterone production will decrease. Okay, so bila dah tak ada follicle kan, bila semua follicle dah dah grow, berlaku ovulation, dah release secondary oocyte setiap bulan throughout lifetime tu, bukan throughout sebelum menopause tu. So bila dah tak ada follicle, estrogen and progesterone production will decrease. Okay, will decrease, and then ataupun ovary lose responsive. So dia tak respond lah, dia tak boleh nak menghasilkan estrogen dan progesterone lagi sebab dah tak ada follicle untuk di-releasekan dalam proses ovulation tu. Bukan follicle. Follicle dah tak ada lagi untuk grow dan release secondary oocyte. Macam tu. Okay, faham ke?
Faham.
Okay, so itu untuk perempuan. Perempuan tak, bila dilahirkan, ovari dia dah tak melalui proses mitosis. Itu je, kan? Right? So imagine this is ovary, right? Kan? So ovary akan akan ada follicles kan, small follicles that contain primary oocyte yang stop dekat prophase 1. So dah tak ada proses mitosis. Okay, untuk terus menghasilkan gametes for the female. Okay. Okay, so thank you. Tadi siapa? Syobah . So next is Yasmin. Question 4.
State 2 disadvantages of external fertilization. Low survival rate because the gametes are exposed to predators and harsh environments, and large number of gametes is wasted and left unfertilized because they are carried by the water current.
Betul lah. So soalan ni lebih kurang yang macam tadi lah kan. So soalan yang macam tadi, so sama je. Okay, disadvantage of external fertilization, low chances of fertilization. So that's why the eggs and the sperm has to be released in large quantities. Okay, so sperm may not find eggs. It is exposed to predators, parasites, and also contamination by microbes or pollution. And also another point that you can include in your answer is changes in temperature or oxygen in water that may cause death. Okay, so thank you Yasmin. So kita balik semula kepada top of the list. Okay, Erina ada. So saya ni tak over lagi. Kita ke Erina. Erina dah ada ke? Tak ada lagi. Okay, so saya tengok dalam list ni, Izzat tadi awak tak ada lagi kan? Okay, Izzat next question. Izzat Daniel. Question 2 please. Izzat Daniel.
Name the structure that conveys live sperms from storage site to
Soalan mana tu? A2.
give to strategies of embryonic development in animals.
Okay. Apa dia strategis dia?
First, the fertilization.
Salah tu. Awak tengok keyword kat sini. Strategies, bukan stages. Itu stages of embryonic development. Keyword yang awak nak tengok adalah ni. Dalam awak punya nota, dalam syllabus yang kita belajar, ada beberapa tempat yang dia cakap tentang embryonic development. But you have to take note of the keyword. So in this question adalah strategies. The answer that you were about to give, you start dengan tadi apa? Fertilization. Itu adalah stages. Okay, so apa kita ada banyak haiwan kan? Kita ada burung, mammals, kita ada reptiles, ada fish, even human. Okay, so how does this organism, how does different species, okay, develop the embryo? Dalam uterus ke, dalam telur yang lay outside ke, dalam telur yang retain dalam badan ke? So those are strategies. So what are the strategies? Term-term yang saya nak tu. Haiwan yang bertelur, apa dia? Ayam bertelur. Okay, so ayam apa? Strategis dia. Saya dah bagi keyword kat situ dah. Huruf. Apa dia Izzat? Dah 3 dah kata huruf ni. Ovi apa?
Oviparity.
Ovi? Parity. Okay. So oviparity is one of the strategies where the embryo is will develop inside eggs that is laid outside of the body. So the nourishment is it comes from the egg yolk. Okay. So another mode of strategies adalah ovoviviparity, where the embryo still develop in eggs but is retained inside the mother's body. So when the embryo is ready, it will hatch inside of the mother's body, tapi dia keluar macam live birth. So awak ingat dia macam bersalin macam biasa kan, tapi dia sebenarnya adalah daripada eggs. Okay, eggs that is retained inside of the mother's body and the nourishment comes from the egg yolk. Okay, so that is ovoviviparity. And then you have another strategies adalah viviparity. Okay, so viviparity is where the embryo develop inside the uterus and the nourishment comes from the placenta, is through the placenta. Okay, so itu keyword dia, strategies. So kalau kita tengok dalam nota awak ni, ada beberapa tempat yang dia cakap pasal embryonic strategies. Ini pun lebih kurang. Tapi ini adalah development of young mammals. Kita ada monotremes, eutherians and also marsupial. Okay, so awak kena tengok apa soalan tu nak. Okay, ini. Okay, so ini adalah embryonic development, tapi dia adalah STRA, okay, strategies. Cara macam mana embryo tu develop. Okay, so ada 3 cara. So yang lagi satu embryonic development juga, tapi itu adalah stage. Nampak ni? Human development, embryonic development. Embryonic development juga, tapi ini adalah stage. Okay, so after fertilization kita ada embryonic development. Yang first stage dia adalah cleavage. Okay, and then gastrulation, and then organogenesis. Okay, organogenesis lead kepada fetal development yang terbagi pada trimester 1, 2 and also 3. So tengok soalan tu dia nak apa? What are the key point in the question? Okay, boleh Izzat? Faham?
Boleh.
Okay, so tadi saya dah nampak nama yang baru masuk juga. Sekejap. Ahmad Amir Iskandar. Okay, so can you answer the next question please? B1. Question 4. Question 4 B1. Saya baca soalan main dia. The male reproductive system consists of a number of sex organs that play a role in reproduction. Okay, so question number 1 please. Amir?
Seminal vesicle.
Seminal vesicle? Apa soalan dia kat situ?
Structure that colonize sperm from storage site into urethra.
Name the structure that conveys live sperm from storage site into urethra. Storage site ni apa? Ini kita tengok pada male reproductive system So male reproductive system, so basically the testis is the organ that is responsible to produce the gametes. Okay, testis. So kalau untuk lelaki, testis tu adalah gonads. Okay, gonads. Kalau perempuan, gonads adalah ovary. What is gonad? Is the organ that is responsible in producing gametes. Okay. So dalam testis, dia ada structure yang kita namakan dia sebagai seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule is where the process of spermatogenesis occurs. Okay, so that produces at the end of spermatogenesis, you have 4 haploid spermatids. So this spermatid will then enter into the storage site. Okay, storage site is the epididymis where the sperm will gain the ability to swim. Okay, it is where the sperm cell matures and gain the ability to swim. Lepas sperm cell boleh berenang, so dia akan masuk kepada next structure yang kita nak untuk soalan ni. Next structure. Okay, the sperm along together with the semen, kan, secretion from all the 3 glands akan keluar melalui urethra, melalui saluran sebelum tu, apa dia? Amir. Okay, there's vas deferens. Okay, so sperm produced in the testis, stored in the epididymis to gain the ability to swim. Lepas tu baru dia akan masuk kepada vas deferens sebelum dia keluar melalui urethra. Okay, melalui urethra kat situ. So you have to know the sequence of the flow. Okay, so seminiferous tubule, and then epididymis, and then vas deferens, and out through the urethra. Alright. Okay, so next question, state the function of epididymis. Ainin, Sophia?
The function of epididymis is to provide site for sperm to gain increased motility.
Increase? Apa? Maturity?
Increased motility.
Increase motility, ya, betul lah tadi kan. So increase motility tu is the ability to swim. Okay, gain the ability to swim. So epididymis ini adalah storage site of sperm. Okay, so it is the temporary storage site for immature sperm. Sperm will mature in the epididymis to gain the ability to swim. Okay, so thank you Ainin. Next is Anas Solihin.
Yes.
B. Describe spermatogenesis, please. 3 markah.
Start from the outermost part of the seminiferous tubules. And then primordial germ cell divides metatically to form spermatogenea.
Okay.
And spermatogenea will undergo mitosis to produce one primary spermatocyte.
Okay.
and then undergoes meiosis 1 to form 2 haploid secondary spermatocyte.
Okay.
And secondary spermatocyte will undergo meiosis 2, producing 4 haploid spermatids.
Okay. Betul. Final stage?
Final stage is the spermiogenesis.
Hmm.
Spermatid elongates, shed its excess cytoplasm and form a tail.
It is the stage of maturation of spermatid, okay, into mature sperm cell that is motile, okay. So betul lah awak punya point tadi. So soalan ni 3 markah tapi sebab dia proses, so you can include all the points lah, kan? Okay. So apa dia?
Semua boleh kira point lah. Oh.
Okay.
Mana-mana lah. Awal boleh, hujung boleh.
Boleh. Asalkan ada 3 point yang turutan dia betul. Faham tak? Mesti sebab kita menceritakan pasal proses. So turutan tu betul lah. Awak janganlah tiba-tiba point yang pertama dia proses spermiogenesis ataupun tiba-tiba awak mention pasal penghasilan there's production of secondary oocyte. Baru awak nak cerita pasal primary kan. So it must be in the correct sequence. Okay? Boleh So all the point you have that. Okay? Betul lah. Okay, so saya ulang balik, saya rephrase, kita tengok balik jawapan Okay, proses spermatogenesis yang paling senang, yang paling mudah untuk awak jawab adalah spermatogenesis is the process of formation of sperm. Kita dapat markah kat situ. And then awak ceritalah dia berlaku kat mana. So it occurs in the seminiferous tubule in testis. Okay, and then baru cerita proses dia melibatkan apa tadi yang sel yang paling outermost sel tu adalah spermatogonium. Okay, spermatogonium that is diploid, okay, at the membrane of seminiferous tubule starts the process of cell division through mitosis. Okay, mitosis. So and then dia dipengaruhi oleh hormon apa? FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, FSH stimulate spermatogonium, okay, to enlarge into primary spermatocyte ataupun spermatogonium undergo mitosis. Okay, spermatogonium undergo mitosis to become primary spermatocyte. So primary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis 1. Okay, undergoes meiosis 1 to form 2 haploid secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte undergo meiosis 2 producing 4 haploid spermatid. 4 haploid spermatid ni dia akan undergo the last stage adalah spermiogenesis, which is the maturation of spermatid into mature and motile sperm. Okay, so dia melibatkan proses walaupun 3 markah, it must be in sequence, in the correct order. Okay. Okay, so next, Aisyah, Sophia. C.
C1, what happens to P if fertilization occurs? My answer is P will continue to grow and secrete progesterone and estrogen.
P adalah apa?
Corpus luteum.
Corpus luteum, okay. Corpus luteum continues, okay. Okay, so soalan ni what happened to corpus luteum if fertilization occurs? So if fertilization occurs, the corpus luteum will not degenerate, will not get destroyed, and it will continue secreting estrogen and progesterone. Mesti awak mention kedua-dua hormon ni. Kalau mention salah satu saja, for example you mention corpus luteum produces progesterone saja, so your answer would be incorrect. Okay, you must mention the 2 hormone. Corpus luteum will not degenerate and secrete estrogen and also progesterone. Okay. So thank you Aisyah. Next is Hanan Alfa.
Okay. Boleh dengar ke?
Boleh
TKLMN or estrogen and LH. My answer is
Okay, tadi dia putus lah. Okay. At which point, tak apa, kita tengok sama-sama. At which point, JKLMNPQ, okay, is the highest of estrogen. So, estrogen terhasil daripada follicular cell. So, follicular cell ni mesti dalam kuantiti yang banyak lah kan. So, follicular cell yang paling banyak adalah pada stage L, kan. The growing follicle here. So, the follicle cell of the follicular cell will produce more of the hormone as estrogen. So, dia adalah structure L. So, LH yang paling tinggi semasa ovulation lah kan. Before ovulation. So, M. Okay, M. So, thank you, Hanan. So, next question, back to Izzat.
Name the structure that secretes all the hormones in figure 5 beginning the 3rd month of pregnancy. The answer is placenta.
Okay, placenta, alright. So, apa struktur lain yang selain pada placenta yang akan secrete hormon HCG ni during early pregnancy? Dia cakap 3 kan, bulan yang ketiga kan, tapi awal-awal tu HCG dihasilkan, tapi daripada struktur apa? Blastosis. Okay, blastosis. So, awak kena tahulah kan, so blastosis akan secrete hormone HCG to maintain the corpus luteum. So, corpus luteum can secrete estrogen and progesterone to cause the thickening of endometrium lining. Tapi bila dah berlaku fertilization, dah berlaku implantation, dah berlaku penghasilan embryo, dah ada placenta, lepas tu HCG akan disekretkan oleh placenta. Placenta akan continue secreting estrogen dan progesterone. Sebab apa? Pada masa ni corpus luteum dah tak ada. Okay, corpus luteum dah degenerate. So yang akan take over the secretion of all these hormone adalah placenta. Okay. So thank you, Izzat. Next is Hazim.
D2 state another function of the structure in D1. Provide nutrient, oxygen and remove waste of the fetus.
Okay, so betul. Okay, dia nak satu markah je. Kalau awak cakap provide oxygen, dah dapat markah dah kan. So provide oxygen to fetus, provide nutrient to fetus, remove waste from fetus, and also exchange nutrients. Okay, exchange nutrient between the mother's blood circulation to the fetus blood circulation. Okay. Alright, so next, so thank you tadi Hazim. Next is Fatih. Fatih, awak boleh buka mic ke? Tak boleh? Kalau nak tulis jawapan. No? Okay. Kita pergi kepada Zahratul untuk question A1 ni.
Okay, so for A1, state and explain the type of asexual reproduction involved in bee colonies. So it's parthenogenesis.
Okay.
A female produces offspring from unfertilized egg. This will develop to a haploid adult. A queen bee mates only one and stores the sperm. She is in control of release of sperm. Fertilized eggs can develop into other queens or sterile worker bees that are female.
Okay. Soalan ni, jawapan awak dah betul dah. Cuma awak kena emphasize pada asexual sahaja. Okay. female workers, dia adalah daripada fertilized egg. So fertilized egg adalah sexual reproduction. So for bees dia boleh kedua-dua, dia boleh asexual, dia boleh sexual reproduction. Okay, so kalau asexual tadilah melalui proses parthenogenesis, first point. Okay, second, where the queen bee produce offspring from unfertilized egg. Point yang kedua, dia unfertilized egg untuk menghasilkan apa? Untuk menghasilkan the male drone. Okay, the male drones or haploid male. Boleh kalau untuk bees ni dia boleh tengok keadaan lah kan. So kalau keadaan nak menghasilkan male through parthenogenesis, which is asexual reproduction, tapi kalau dia nak menghasilkan female workers, so it is through sexual reproduction where it involve fertilization, okay, between egg and also sperm. Alright, so thank you Zahratul. Next is Adlin B.
Figure 17 shows a cross-section of human ovary. Number 1, using the letters from figure 17, give the correct sequence of development stages starting from the follicular phase until the end of the luteal phase. The answer is D, E, F, C, B, E.
So ikut je lah sequence ni kan, daripada the small follicles containing primary oocyte, so dia akan grow and then release the secondary oocyte during ovulation to become corpus luteum, and then corpus luteum degenerate. Okay, so ikut sequence lah, D, E, F, so 4, macam tu lah kan, ikut sequence. Saya tulis kat sini D, E, F, C, B, A. Okay, so thank you. Next, Anissa.
Name one hormone that stimulates the release of structure C. My answer is LH.
LH, luteinizing hormone. By gland apa yang secret? Gland apa secret LH?
Pituitary gland.
Anterior ke posterior?
Anterior.
Anterior. Okay, so thank you Anissa. Erina, ada ke? Tak ada, daripada awal sampai tak ada juga. Okay, so next is Hanis.
State the cell division phase of structure C and determine whether it is haploid or diploid. Phase, follicular phase. It is haploid.
Okay. Kalau awak tengok dekat soalan, phase ni dia bukan nak ovarian cycle punya phase, dia nak cell division punya phase. Okay, cell division phase of structure C. Structure C ni apa dia? What is structure C?
Secondary oocyte.
Secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte dia akan stop pada phase meiosis yang mana?
Metaphase.
Metaphase apa?
1.
1 ke?
Metaphase 2.
Metaphase 2. Tengok soalan cell division. Cell division ni sama ada dia mitosis ataupun meiosis. Sebab kita tengok sekarang ni adalah penghasilan gamet, mestilah meiosis. Okay, so gamet yang terhasil kat sini adalah secondary oocyte. So dia stop pada metaphase 2. So apa keadaan dia? Haploid ke diploid?
Haploid.
Haploid, okay. Haploid ataupun N lah, right? So thank you Hanis. Next, Nadia Hatika.
Identify structure B and state its role as an endocrine gland. My answer is corpus luteum.
Its role is secrete progesterone and estrogen.
Okey, betul. Dua markah So kat situ mesti ada estrogen and progesterone. So structure B adalah corpus luteum, secrete estrogen and progesterone. Okay. So thank you. Nadia, Sarah, Christina next.
The FSH and LH decreases.
Macam soalan?
What happened to the level of FSH and LH if both ovaries are removed? My answer is the FSH and LH will decreases. FSH and LH secreted by anterior pituitary cannot send signal to the ovary.
Itu je. Okay. So kalau kat sini, what happened to the level of FSH and LH? Sekejap ya, saya tengok soalan ni. Okay, so sekarang ni dia adalah soalan applied. Okay, soalan ni adalah soalan applied. So, bila soalan applied, awak kena faham konsep. Konsep yang ada dalam textbook lah yang awak belajar kan. Okay, so fungsi estrogen and fungsi ovaries adalah untuk menghasilkan estrogen and progesterone. Kalau secara normal, okay, bila bila satu follicle grow, dia akan secrete estrogen and progesterone. Bila production of estrogen and progesterone tinggi, dia akan menyebabkan negative feedback, negative feedback to the hypothalamus and also anterior pituitary dan menyebabkan hormon LH dengan FSH ni reduced. Okay, tapi sekarang ni ovary ni removed. Seseorang perempuan tu dah tak ada ovary. Okay, so apa kesan dia? So kesan dia, estrogen and progesterone production will drop. Okay, will drop. And bila drop, dia takkan menyebabkan berlakunya negative feedback to the hypothalamus. So therefore, LH dengan FSH secretion ni akan increase ataupun remain the same. Okay, LH and FSH secretion will increase ataupun remain the same. Okay, so sebab apa? Because secretion of these two hormones by the anterior pituitary is regulated by the hypothalamus and there is no negative feedback posed by the estrogen and progesterone from the ovary. If you look at or refer to your notes dekat bahagian graf ni, okay. Okay, combination of high level of estrogen and progesterone daripada corpus luteum yang dalam pada ovary itu akan menyebabkan negative feedback kepada hypothalamus and anterior pituitary. In this case, tak ada berlaku benda ni. Okay, tak ada berlaku. Okay, so dia akan menyebabkan FSH dengan LH akan sentiasa boleh dihasilkan juga. Okay, sebab tak ada negative feedback daripada ovary. Faham ke? Boleh?
Faham?
Okay, so saya tulis kat sini LH, FSH secretion increase or remain the same because secretion of these two hormone. Nanti saya tulis kan. Sekejap because secretion is by anterior pituitary or regulated by hypothalamus and so therefore there will be no negative Okay, negative feedback. Okay, so ataupun cara lain awak boleh jawab, tapi sebab dia nak suruh relate dengan FSH dengan LH kan. Kalau soalan tu disuruh relate dengan estrogen and progesterone, obviously estrogen and progesterone level will decrease lah kan. Will decrease because there is no follicle or no corpus luteum. Okay. So thank you tadi. Siapa tadi Saya dah lupa dah penturutan.
Sarah.
Tadi saya.
Sarah okay, so thank you Sarah. Okay, sikit lagi nak habis. Nur Ain Kristina.
For question 6, name one structure that forms protective layers surrounding the developing oocytes in structure D. My answer is single layer follicle cells.
Single layer follicle cells. Boleh lah. Okay, follicle cells. Yang bahagian luar kan. So follicle cell. Bawah follicle cell ada apa? Ini awak kena tahu layer of secondary oocyte punya wall. Okay. So ini awak kena fahamkan proses untuk awak fahamkan proses fertilization. Okay, fertilization. So the secondary oocyte, it has several protective layers. So the outside layer yang tadilah follicular cell ataupun granulosa cell. Okay, granulosa cell, follicular cell or follicle cells. Bawah dia kita ada zona lucida dan zona lucida. Bawah zona lucida baru akan ada cell membrane of secondary oocyte. So during fertilization, okay, the sperm heads at the tip of sperm head will have acrosome. Okay, acrosome that contains enzyme that will digest through the follicular cell kat sini before it enters into the zona lucida. So bila dah reach zona lucida akan berlaku kat sinilah cortical reaction. So bawah plasma membrane of secondary oocyte akan ada special vesicle, we call it as cortical granules that contain enzyme, and this enzyme will causes the zona lucida to harden. Okay, sebab apa? What is the significance of causing the zona lucida to harden? It is to prevent other sperm from penetrating into the secondary oocyte. Okay, selepas satu sperm berjaya penetrate, sperm lain dah tak boleh nak penetrate sebab ada berlaku cortical reaction that causes the zona lucida to harden, and this is called as slow block polyspermy. Okay, so the last question, my Sarah.
Explain why hormone Q drops after the first trimester. After ovulation, estradiol and progesterone secreted by corpus luteum.
Ni dah mengandung dah ni. Dia bukan proses nak release secondary oocyte dah. Ni dah proses dah mengandung, dah hasil baby dah. Graf ni sama dengan graf yang kita tengok tadi tu, ini. Okay, so basically this graph, it shows you the secretion of the three major hormones that is secreted during pregnancy. So kita ada HCG, and then this is estrogen, and then we also have progesterone. Okay, progesterone. So estrogen yang tinggi ke yang rendah? Sekejap Okay. Okay, estrogen and progesterone. So all this hormone is secreted by the by the placenta. Okay, by the placenta. So explain why hormone Q drops after the first trimester. Pregnancy ni terbahagi kepada 3 trimester. Trimester pertama, kedua dan ketiga. So trimester pertama, bulan yang pertama sampai bulan yang ketiga. Trimester yang kedua, bulan keempat sampai ke-6. Trimester yang ketiga, 7 sampai 9. Okay. So if you look at this graph, okay, trimester pertama, okay, so this is because, kenapa awak tengok hormon Q adalah HCG. So you mention, if you mention Q is HCG, human chronic gonadotropin, dah dapat satu markah. Okay, so and then you explain on what is the function of this hormone. Okay, so the function of HCG is to stimulate corpus luteum to secrete estrogen and progesterone, and the HCG is released by the blastocyst. Okay, blastocyst, and then blastocyst, dia tak akan remain selamanya jadi blastocyst kan, dia akan jadi fetus seterusnya. Okay, so that's why you observe that the HCG hormone will drop, okay, after the first trimester. Okay, HCG ni asalnya dihasilkan oleh blastocyst, kemudian diambil alih oleh placenta, tapi placenta tak akan selamanya menghasilkan HCG dalam kuantiti yang tinggi. Okay, so itulah dia. Okay, boleh ya, faham ya?
Faham.
Saya tulis kat sini, is released by blastocyst. Okay, blastocyst to stimulate corpus luteum to secrete estrogen and progesterone. Okay, and then the blastocyst will develop into fetus. Okay, ataupun no blastocyst after week 12 ataupun after first trimester. Okay, so those are the answer that you can include when you answering this question. So that's it. Okay, that's it for discussion for part B. So do you have any question? On this discussion?
Madam.
Tak ada So sekarang ni dah pukul 9.38. So I hope that you understand what we have discussed today. So macam awal lagi lah untuk kita habiskan, ada dalam few more minutes. Kita habis awal tak apa ya?